Well, I can't think of a better way to start a Monday morning than this. Our producer, Rebecca, is back in studio. Welcome back, girl.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
For those that don't know, do you want to explain this journey or do you want to have somebody else do it? I'm not exactly sure what capacity you can do or you want to do or you're comfortable with on air. So how do we handle? This is a question I should ask before we came on the air.
That would have been a very good question to ask prior to the mics being cracked open.
So my speech is not 100%. I have people usually find me pretty intelligible, but my clarity is not like all there. I feel like as long as you don't ask me to say Sally sells seashells by the seashore,
Yeah.
you can pretty much understand.
Yeah. You crushed it.
So Rebecca has gone on this journey. She got cancer on her tongue. I'm not even exactly sure what questions to ask and where your headspace is at now. I know that there was a party, Kristen threw a party for you on Saturday that unfortunately I couldn't make because I was in New York, but it must feel great to be like heading back in the right direction to your regular way of life.
God, it feels so good just to be kind of back into like a new normal because I'm so much on the up and up from where I was after treatment. Nobody really tells you this, but cancer is really boring.
Is that right? It's the kind of excitement I don't want.
Yeah, not really worth it, honestly. I felt like I was in a cancer quarantine for a long time because nobody could visit me because I was doing chemo and I couldn't get sick. And, you know, I had a lot of brain fog and I felt really dumb. So just being back in society kind of is really helpful to me, honestly, to not feel like some mental patient as well as like being sick. So I'm just happy to be back. I'm happy to be here and feel challenged and use my brain. And I can't thank you guys enough for all of your support. It's been like incredible the entire journey. Like I could say thank you forever and it would not be enough.
Well, you family, you know that. How about the emotional and mental part of it also? So like somebody today that's listening, unfortunately, these are the stats, or tomorrow or the next day, is going to find out that they have cancer. So it's not only a physical journey, but it's also like a mental and emotional one. What do you tell them? And what were your darkest moments and what were the moments that you built on to say, you know what, I am going to be okay?
It has been such an emotional roller coaster. You go so up and down, and I feel like there were so many different phases between surgery, recovering from surgery, and then going into treatment for radiation and chemo. It was like a new beast that I had to battle every time. And honestly, the anxiety before surgery was probably the worst. And then I felt purposeful when I was recovering because I had something I had to do. It was like I didn't have time to be anxious or sad about my state because I had to work as hard as possible to get back to being healthy. And then radiation, I have never, ever been so depressed in my life because I've never felt pain like that. When I was in surgery and after, I didn't feel pain. Radiation was a way different beast. It was painful. I couldn't eat. I couldn't swallow water sometimes. I had to use a mouthwash to make sure I was numb. Not being able to see my friends, only being stuck at home. I was kind of a goblin to my family. I would lash out. I would have tantrums, basically, because it was so upsetting. And now, even now, kind of like, the emotions I'm facing are really bittersweet because I'm so happy to be done with my treatment, but I'm kind of in a limbo space where I'm not in remission yet. My first scans are in April, and now I have to wait for that. And they will tell me that I'm in remission, but I will periodically have scans for the next 5 years. And that kind of anxiety is really what's biting into my brain at this point. Just having to anticipate that for the next 5 years.
So when, people, of course, we're going to celebrate the fact that it's your end of treatment and that you're going to get the news that you're cancer-free and in remission. But I think what the thing that's sticking with you the most from you is that in some ways you're always going to be a cancer patient.
Yeah.
Like it's always like, even when you're in remission, you're cancer free and everybody around you is like, yay, it's over. For you, in your head, it's never over. Like what you went through is always going to be a permanent part of you. Mm-hmm. It's going to be, it's not going to be who you are, but it is going to be a part of you. And I think that's really important for people to remember.
Yeah. I mean, I was 29 years old when I got this diagnosis. So I was an idiot and I felt very entitled to life. And as soon as I got that diagnosis, that was gone. I no longer feel entitled to life. I know it can go. I know it can be ripped from you. And obviously that's not happened to me. But the one thing that for some reason has always stuck in my head, I always think this, is just, what do I deserve? I always think that in my head. And I don't know why, but it's just, what do I deserve? Because now I know I'm not entitled, but every day I've tried to make this a positive. Like, I know that death is inevitable. So why not make this the best day possible? And it's harder to make that positive change in my mind than, it's hard to do that. But that's a practice that I think I can make a gift out of this whole experience. And I'm trying to.
Well, that's a powerful lesson right there.
It is.
We're so happy to have you back.
I'm so happy to be back.
Tell me about the party on Saturday. I was so jealous of all the pictures. You guys look like you're having a great time.
Oh my gosh. Rebecca walked in and you channeled Barbie and you were Barbie. It was incredible. So we had an end of treatment F cancer party. The word F was everywhere in that room. I was like, I really didn't check with you to see if your because I mean, all of Rebecca's family, her mom, her dad, her sisters, her aunts, her uncles, all of her friends, the Bert show, were all there. And I'm like, I hope people are okay with the profanity because that's the theme here. So we had an F cancer party at the Barrel Room at City Winery. The food was fantastic. The entertainment, I had Queen Faraz, who is a drag queen, and she was awesome and incredible. The moment I won't forget is that, this is an emotional party, but it's there should be happy tears, right? We're just going to be positive and upbeat. And Rebecca came in and she was just ready to party, right? And then the drag queen did her first song, I Want to Dance with Somebody, by Whitney Houston. And then afterwards, she's talking to Rebecca. And all of a sudden, you just see Rebecca those were the only, when the drag queen had an emotional moment with Rebecca is when she cried. And that was the only time.
I feel like that's so appropriate for me.
And then I got a giant tongue piñata and I got a bat from Etsy that I had engraved that said F Cancer Rebecca Lancaster MVP, and we just let her whack the S out of this piñata, and it was amazing.
That was fun.
To one point, it fell to the ground, and I could hear Cassie over everybody. She's like, "Just whack it! Just whack it on the ground! Kick it! Stop it!" Which you did, and you delivered. In your cake, I went because I know Rebecca has had the best sense of humor throughout this entire process. I think that from an outsider looking in has hopefully helped you through this and to be able to laugh at certain things, obviously, and get upset and cry when appropriate. But the cake, I mean, Publix cakes are the best cakes. So we did Publix cake, but they don't do photos on cakes anymore. So I had to send this photo into Amazon and got delivered. And it was a giant picture of Rebecca's tongue post-surgery with the tattoo from her wrist that they cut and sliced into her tongue. And so we all ate a piece of Rebecca's tongue for the cake.
So my son asked a question last night that I couldn't answer because I was telling him you were coming back today, and I was all excited. He's 16 years old, and I was telling him about the skin graft they did, and he asked why they chose that one spot in that skin graft on your wrist rather than other areas, and I couldn't answer.
So the answer to that is because it is my left arm and I'm right-handed. Because honestly, after surgery, my wrist was what was really difficult and a little bit painful and hard to move. Even now, I can't really my mobility is a little bit less. honestly.
Mhm.
So if they had done my right hand, I would have just been like kind of screwed with like, my day-to-day life, like holding my phone and, typing and stuff.
But on your body, was that like that area? Because they also had to take, because I mean, they're not just taking skin, like they're rebuilding the tongue.
Yeah, and when my friend Jason had it, I think they took it from his leg or his thigh or something like that. And I couldn't answer like why a wrist and why a thigh or whatever.
So it's because they took an artery. And there is like a map of veins. And I think there's like 2 arteries in your wrist that supply blood to your hand. So they took that artery and put it in the flap in my tongue to connect to my native tongue so that it stays alive.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Crazy.
Wow. That's really unbelievable what they can do.
Yeah.
Well, it goes without saying. We're so happy. We're overjoyed that you're here.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back,
Rebecca.
girl.
Welcome back, Rebecca.
Yes.
The Bert Show.